All right, so today I want to talk to you about one of the most difficult challenges that you're going to face getting started in a freight broker business. And no, it's not the setup. It's not getting your business started. It's not starting an LLC. All of that stuff is relatively easy. It's easy to start an LLC. It's easy to get your motor carrier authority, to get your surety bond, to get all of the stuff set up so that you are operational. The hard part comes in when you've gotten that stuff set up and now it's time for you to go out and obtain a customer base. Now, why is it hard to obtain a customer base for most people? Well, it's very simple. You've never done it before. You don't know how to articulate what it is that you offer to customers. You don't have the confidence to talk to customers. You are afraid, right? And that's what you have to get over. You have to get over that fear. You have to get over the fact that you are not really knowing just yet what to say. You have to start somewhere. And when you can start somewhere, then you have a foundation to build upon. But if you don't ever get started, if you constantly use the excuse that you're afraid or you don't have the confidence, you'll never get out of the starting blocks. Now, here's the reason for that, I believe. A lot of us say that we have this real desire, this burning desire within us to win. And that's great. It is great to have the desire to win, to be successful. Most people have the desire to win. Most people have the desire to be successful. But you know what the thing it is that they're missing? That one little thing that you're missing is that you don't have the guts to fail. You don't have the guts to be wrong. You don't have the guts to humiliate yourself and basically be left out to dry sometimes, right? You don't have the guts to lose. And that's what you have to embrace. You have to have the guts to be rejected. And that is going to happen more times than you want it to happen. And that's just how it works. I kind of approach sales. I approach this business in the fashion that, you know, some people are going to want to work with me and some people are not going to work with me. I'm only looking for those who are looking. I'm not looking for those who aren't interested in working with me. I have to go through the process. I have to go through the process of people saying no. I have to go through the process of some of those people hanging up the phone, being very brief with me on the phone. That's just how it works. Drop your ego. Forget about this idea that you are so afraid, you're fearful of what somebody is going to say to you. If you are fearful and you can't get over that fear, you'll never get customers. You have to go out and start somewhere and start building on that foundation, right? It's very simple. What is it that you have to offer to customers? When you really start to think about it as a freight brokerage, as a 3PL with a freight broker-based business, what do you have to offer? And at the base, at the core of your offer is trucking capacity. That is what a freight broker is offering, and you're going to offer that in various ways. You might offer that FTL, LTL services, multi-pick, multi-drop services, drayage services, so forth and so on. And then, of course, you're going to have very good customer service. Now, you don't want to just depend on customer service. And a lot of you think customer service is being nice, right? And that's a part of it. But customer service is being responsible, being reliable, being responsive to your customers. You see, a lot of people say, hey, I'm going to be there for my customers. I'm going to make sure that I answer the phone, that I answer their emails. And when you get emails come across your desk and your customers are requesting rate quotes, they're requesting more information from you about a particular load, they don't have anybody there that's answering back. Right? Customer service is really important. It's not the only thing, but it is a very important part of what a new freight broker offers. And if you're responsive to your customers, right? Because there are going to be a lot of people that don't even answer back when shippers send out requests for rate quotes. They're going to be too fearful. They're going to be scared to send back a rate request because they are trying to figure out if their number is right. And then they're going to look at that number and they're going to go over it over and over again in their minds, and they're going to say, what if the number is too high? What if I get rejected? That's a part of it. That's a part of this game, is being told no. You're going to be told no over and over again. But again, you're not looking for people who are not looking. You're looking for those that are looking for assistance. And there are plenty of shippers out there that need assistance. It is your job. It is your number one responsibility to find out who needs your assistance. And you have to go through the no's to get to the yes. You have to be willing to go through that, right? When you first start out, I know a lot of you have this idea in your minds that is just about calling and offering trucks to shippers, and they are going to say, okay, go ahead and send us a truck over. It would be wonderful if it worked out that way, right? You would be just where you wanted to be if it worked out, if it were that easy. But that's what you need to understand. If it were that easy, everybody would be doing it. And that's just not how it works. You have to develop a relationship with a shipper. They have to know that you can deliver on your word. You can do what it is that you say you can do. There are so many freight brokers that are just talking. And when it's time to get in the hot seat, when it's time for you to deliver on your word, you can't deliver. You give shippers a price that you can move loads at, right? They give you the authorization to move the load. And now you have the load and you can't get it moved because you didn't give the right price when you first started. Now you have to look and find out, okay, how can I give this load back to the shipper? How can I tell them that we're not going to be able to move it? That is the last thing that you want to do as a new freight broker, to start giving prices and not being able to honor those prices, because it says that you don't know what you're doing. It says that you are incompetent. And what a way to start off. Think about that. If you're just getting started with a shipper and you've given them a price and now you have to go back to the shipper and tell them that that price doesn't work, how does that make you look, right? How I look at it is, when I first start off with a shipper, I want to make sure that if I give a price, I am going to move the load at that price. I'm not going to go back to the shipper and ask for any additional money. I'm not going to go back to the shipper and tell them that I cannot find a truck. I am going to cover the load by any means necessary, because we got to think about what we're doing. We're building rapport with this shipper. We're building a relationship, and we don't want that relationship going south before we even get started. I don't want to lose that shipper's confidence before we get started. What is it that you do? What is it that you are good at doing? That's what you have to look at when you start to think about the service that you offer. What is it that you can deliver on and you know you can deliver on consistently, right? And I know that's not a whole lot when you first get started, but you really need to have the mindset that when you get a load, you are going to move the load. That is just the facts. That's how it's going to work. If I get a load from a shipper, when I get that load, it is going to move. Because there are people out there, there are new freight brokers out there in our program that we talk to all the time that are making it happen. Even in this environment, even in the tough environment that we're in right now, where demand is low right now. We don't have a whole lot of demand in the environment that we're in right now, but there are people out there that are still pushing forward. For example, Joe Smith, who's in our program right now. He just moved his first load, and Joe will be getting in contact with you either this weekend or early part of next week to talk the details of that load and to make sure that we set you up to get your refund for the training program. But Joe just went out, had $25.50, I think it was, in a load, and he moved that load for $19.50 or $19.60 in total, right? So he made roughly $500, almost $600 on that load. Okay? So there are people out here that are still making profit in this environment right now. There are people out here that are getting customers, that are moving loads, that are making it happen for themselves. So what you have to start thinking about is, why aren't you doing the same? I can basically come to you and tell you what it is. It's because you are too fearful. You are too worried about not winning. Get that out of your mind. You are going to lose sometimes. That is the nature of the business we're in. You're not going to win every single time. You're not going to make a profit on a load every single time. Sometimes you're going to break even. Sometimes you're going to lose money on a load. You have to be willing to accept that as just par for the course. That's how it works. When you're willing to do that, when you're willing to say to yourself, I understand that this business is about winning, but I also understand that it's about losing sometimes. And what I have to do as a business owner is to make sure that I try and cut those losses, make the times that I lose as less as possible, right? And how do you do that? How do you do that? With time, with understanding, with gaining some experience and confidence. The only way that you are going to gain experience and confidence is by putting yourself out there. Putting yourself out there and being willing to fail. Do you know that some of the most successful people in this world have failed over and over and over again? If you start listening to their stories, you'll hear that. And then you'll start to understand that it's not specific to you, right? This is not just about somebody trying to deny you. That's how business works. That's how success works. You have to go through failures. You have to go through losses in order to get to your wins. But if you're willing to do that, if you're willing to sacrifice your own pride, your own ego, you'll eventually get there. That's what I wanted to share with you today. I certainly hope this information has been helpful. If you want to learn more about the freight brokerage business, I'll leave a free link in the description. It's my 5-video series and it's titled How the Load Movement Process Works. It'll show me in the office, talking to shippers, talking to carriers, showing you exactly how this business works so you can get a better understanding before you come into it. And then if you're interested in learning more about how load boards work, how we use load boards as freight brokers to post our loads, to find carriers, to source rates, I'll leave you a free video right here. So until the next time, I wish you the very best in your life and business. See you at the top because the bottom is much too crowded.